Hey, this is Mr. Morrison, and today we will be solving systems of equations. Not just one equation, but systems, which means more than one. It can get a little tricky, but we can do it. I know we can. So you'll be given two equations. The first step is going to be to solve them both separately for the same variable. So for example, if you had these two equations, 6x minus y equals negative 15, and on the other side 2x plus 3y equals 5, you could solve them either for x or for y. It doesn't matter what you solve it for at first. So I'm just going to pick one, and I'm going to solve this for y. So on this equation, just like we did yesterday, I would subtract 6x from both sides, minus 6x, end up with, don't forget that negative there, they cancel out, bring down the y, and this would end up being negative 15 minus 6x. And we can't leave it like that, I'm hoping you remember, because that's not y, it is negative y, so I have to make it the opposite. So all this stuff changes to the opposite, which would be 15 plus 6x. And the order is kind of important. Make it easier if you just make sure you have the format where it's y equals, then the x comes next, and then the number that's left over, plus 15. So these are both our answers. I just reformatted it so that x comes first, not the number. Not a big deal. On this side, I'm going to do the same thing to solve for y. I'm going to minus 2x here. Do the same thing over here. That cancels out. I bring down my 3y equals 5 minus 2x. Then I have to take both sides and divide by 3, divided by 3. And remember, this 3, it's almost like the distributive property. I have to take it and divide it by both of them. The 5 and the 2 both have to get divided by that 3. So when I do that, y would equal 5 divided by 3 would end up giving me 1 2/3, or you can make the decimal 1.6 repeating, and then it's going to be minus 2/3 x. And again, I'm not going to leave it like I did over here. I'm going to change it so the x comes first, so y equals negative 2/3 x plus 1 2/3. So far these are my two answers. We haven't done anything different than what we did in the past. Now here's where it changes slightly. Now, because it's two equations, we can find out what the answer is to both of these when we put them together. So we could take this y equals 6x plus 15 and y equals negative 2/3 x plus 1 2/3 and put them so that they are equal to each other, because if they both equal y, then both sides have to equal each other. So 6x plus 15 has to be the same thing as negative 2/3 x plus 1 2/3. So then from there, we're just going to solve for x and figure out what it was, just like we've done in the past. So now that I have them together, I want to move one of these. Which one's lighter, 6 or negative 2/3? Negative 2/3 is, so I'm going to take that negative 2/3 and move it by adding 2/3 x plus 2/3 x. So this would turn into 6 and 2/3 x. Is that clicking noise getting on your nerves yet? It's getting on mine. Equals 1 2/3. So that went bye-byes and came over here. Now we would have to subtract both sides by 15 minus 15. 15 moves, so then we're left with 6 and 2/3 x equals, once we subtract these, we get negative 13 and 1/3. Now I'm running out of room here, but to get x by itself, I'd have to divide by 6 and 2/3. So then over here, divide by 6 and 2/3. So when I do that, that goes away, and x ends up equaling a nice, neat negative 2. So now, if we know what x is in the equation, if we go back to the beginning, we could just plug our answer of -2 in to one of these. It does not matter which one. We could have picked this one or we could pick the other one. Plug in the -2 to find out what y equals. So y would equal 6. It's not an x anymore. It would become -2 because we solved for it, plus 15. So y equals -12 plus 15. So y would equal 3. So my real answer to this equation, or systems of equation rather, would be -2, 3. Make sure you put the parentheses, the comma in between, no spaces. When you answer the questions in the Google Doc to the right, you're going to have to make sure you do that. So that would be solving systems of equation. And again, just to go through the steps, you start with 2 equations, you solve both of them for the same variable, doesn't matter x or y, then you make the 2 sides equal to each other, solve for x just like I did here, then you take your x and you plug it back in to get your y. So once you know what x is, you can plug it back into one of the 2 equations, doesn't matter which one, to get out the y. So the answer to this again would be -2, 3. Another simpler type problem is they may give you an equation with a solution and say which one is this the solution for. So to figure that out, I would just try it in both of them. So this is my x, this is my y. I take the -2, plug it in, so it'd be 2 times -2 plus 3 times 4 equals 8. It's really hard to write with this mouse. So it'd be -4 plus 12 equals 8. 8 equals 8. Is that true? Yep, so that works out. So that would be a solution here. This would give us yes, and over here it'd be -2 minus 4 times 4 equals 15. So it'd be -2 minus 16 equals 15. -18 equals 15. Is that true? No. So that would not be a solution. So this would be my answer right here on this side of things. I'm going to put a few problems in the form on the right, just a couple questions to make sure you're getting this. If you could please just do those and make sure you submit them with your Gaggle account. I'll email you, see if you got the answer right. Good luck.